Hello everybody, this is Sandra, and today I'm making barbecue sauce. So this is a different one from the one I made before. The other one, I forget what the title of it was. But anyway, that one was kind of a sweet barbecue sauce. That's more your flavor. Okay, that's cool. But we kind of prefer not to have our barbecue sauce as sweet. We like a little bit of the tangy side. So, coming out of my favorite book, the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving, on page 257, the barbecue sauce recipe. Okay, so this is the recipe in case you want to do a screenshot of what's in it. Okay, so far in my pot I have 20 cups of, well, chopped and peeled tomatoes, but I just put them in the food processor because I know how I want the consistency to be. So anyway, so it's 20 cups that I've processed in the processor of peeled tomatoes. If you do not know how to peel tomatoes, you know, we can link to another video that we did where we actually blanched and peeled the tomatoes. If you ever had to peel tomatoes, I'm telling you, the blanching is, that's how you want to go, okay? It makes life so much easier, okay? So I have the tomatoes, the chopped onions. So the chopped onions, okay, another tip. If you're gonna do a lot of cooking like I do, you want to get you a case of onions or a big bag of onions. Go ahead and chop them joints up. Now I don't finely chop mine up. I kind of coarsely chop them up. And what I did was I put them in quart size freezer bags, and I put 2 cups a piece in each bag. Okay, so I know if I need some onions, if I only need 1 cup, use approximately about half a bag. Okay, so if I need 6 cups, grab 3 bags of them. Okay, so what I did was, if you notice the onions, which no, that's it part right there. Okay, the onions look kind of mushy. Yeah, they look kind of mushy. That's because they were still frozen when I put that in the blender too. Because in the recipe, after I let this saute for 30 minutes, I'm supposed to puree the whole thing again. What the heck for? Just go ahead and do it now. Well, that's the way I think. That's how my mind works, okay? Save a step. Plus, you know, a lot of people use immersion blenders. I don't have any immersion blenders. And when this stuff gonna be hot, I don't want to be messing with this hot stuff. Just saying. So, I got my onions. And it asks for 3 cloves of garlic. Let me see if I can put this garlic there. If you can see my shadow. That's the garlic right there. So, we use minced garlic all the time. Minced garlic. Make life easier. It's real garlic. Okay? So it asks for 3 cloves. I put 2 heaping teaspoons. That's around about 3 cloves in my mind. So, wow. Yep. And 1 teaspoon of hot pepper flakes over there. And 1 teaspoon of celery seeds. So far, there are other ingredients in here as you saw on the list of ingredients. But for right now, all I'm supposed to do is bring this up to a boil and let it simmer for 30 minutes, okay? So, it's going to be a few seconds for you guys, but for me, it's going to be at least 30 minutes. And while I'm letting these saute, I got my water bath canner right here next to me. And I'm going to wash my pint-sized jars. Because this recipe, okay, let me get back over here to the screen, to the book. It says it makes about 3 pints. I don't know who came up with these measurements. All that in that pot. Now, you know there's going to be more than 3 pints, okay? It might be 3 quarts, which I think is more than that too. But we're going to see what I end up with, okay? Also, now, pint size does good for my family. Because when we cook, we usually cook for, you know, several people at a time. You could also, instead of using pint size, if you don't use a whole lot of barbecue sauce at one time, you might choose to use half pint size, okay? But anyway, that's just an option, okay? I would go down in size, but I don't know if I would go up in size. Because at the end, when it comes to the processing, it says process for 20 minutes. This is at the end when we get done all our candy and everything, okay? So if you go larger than it, it doesn't tell you on here how long to go, okay? Now, it might be when it says for more information, go to those other pages. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. But like I said, for my family, pint-sized jars are just fine. So, like I said, I'll be back in 30 minutes or a little bit more for me, whatever. A few seconds for you. Okay, we're back, and it's been simmering for 30 minutes. As you see, it's been reducing some, okay? You can look at the size and tell it's gone down some. But anyway, now it's time to add my other ingredients. And the other ingredients are the brown sugar, the white vinegar, and lemon juice, salt. It says ground mace, but in the tips over here, it says, if you don't have ground mace, you can substitute an equal quantity of ground nutmeg, which is what I did because I don't have any mace. Okay, dry mustard, ginger, and cinnamon. Okay, so those are my liquids, brown sugar, and those are my spices. So we're going to add all this in. Yep. Move back. Let me stop hot stuff splashing on me. Okay. And brown sugar. There we go. Just a plop. There you go. And my spices. Okay. So, I got to let this come to a boil again. Once it comes to a boil again, then I'm going to let it simmer again for another 30 minutes. I don't know why my phone acting up. But anyway, like I said, I hope you got what I said. Mix this all up and let it come to a boil again and simmer for another 30 minutes. I don't know if you can tell now, but it's beginning to get thicker. After all this simmering, it should. And after the next 30 minutes, we should be ready to do some canning. But I'll bring you back. Like I said, 30 minutes for me, a few seconds for you guys. All right. Okay, guys, we're back, and I've been letting my barbecue sauce simmer. But let me say, when you're type of tomatoes that you use will depend on how quickly you get to the stage you want your sauce to be. This time I used slicer tomatoes. You know, the type of tomatoes that you would normally put on a sandwich. Because that's what he had, okay? Your best bet really is to use paste tomatoes. Because paste tomatoes are more meaty, okay? Like I said, you can use slicers, just keep in mind that it's going to take you longer for you to get to the consistency that you want. So, although it was 30 minutes processing, then another 30 minutes when I put the other seasonings in it, I added an additional 20 minutes, okay? Just to get where I want to be. It's a little bit chunky. And also keep in mind, when I process it in the water bath canner, that's going to be another 20 minutes that's going to be processing, okay? Also, in mine, the recipe tells you, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if I can bring this close enough. The recipe tells you to strain it. When it tells you to strain it again, one of the reasons, not only because of the onions, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it has some of those tomato seeds in there. If that bothers you, you can strain it again. Or you could strain it in the first go around. When I say strain it, I mean use something like a cheesecloth or something like that. Okay, you could use that if the seeds bother you. Seeds does not bother me. Okay, they're small and they just don't bother me. I've done other stuff, tomatoes, sauce, everything that doesn't bother me. So, but anyway, getting ready to can. And so I have one jar here already. Okay, hold up. Hold up. Catastrophe, catastrophe. So I got one jar. It's a heated jar. Got my funnel. And we're going to leave 1 inch headspace on these. Okay. So, and by this being so liquid, you really don't have to debubble it. But as always, you still have to clean your rims, okay? And this is a hot product. Going into hot jars. It's going in a hot canner. Okay. 1 inch headspace. Of course, I have my vinegar. There's my paper towel in it. You don't have to use a paper towel. As long as it's a clean towel. That's fine and dandy. Okay. And again, the purpose of cleaning your rims. You also want, you always want to check your rims to make sure there's no chips or cracks on it, okay? The glasses as well. But you want to make sure that the lid bonds with the lid, with the rims of your glasses. You see that that brown area around there? It has a substance on it. I don't know if you can tell or not. So when the jars are heated, it causes it to suction to the rim of your glass, okay? So you put your lid in place, center your lid, and put your rings on. And your rings, you always want it to be fingertip tight. Some people say fingertip tight. There's a difference, okay? The purpose of your ring is two purposes. First one is to keep your lid in place so it can get properly sealed. Second of all, you want it fingertip tight because you want the air to be able to escape. If the air is not able to escape, the problem that you could have would be a buckling of your lid, okay? And we don't want that. You want the air to escape because we're trying to create a sterile environment for your product. Because we want it to last as long as it can. And speaking of how long it lasts, most books will tell you that when you can products, that it'll last, they'll say, some will say 1 year, some will say 18 months, okay? I've heard people being able to use stuff 5, 10, 15, even 20 years on the shelf, and it's still good. Because keep in mind, the only thing that's in your product is what you put in it. You did not add any preservatives other than natural preservatives, like lemon juice, vinegar, okay? So you know what's in it. And just keep that in mind. And because I'm curious to see how long this stuff is going to last on my shelf. Like I said, I know I have at least a year. But I want to see, okay? And also with your products that you have on your shelf, make sure that you occasionally go by and just maybe once every so often, whenever you think about it, just kind of touch the lids. Make sure that it's not doing it, okay? Because this hasn't been processed yet, okay? So make sure that it's not a bubble, that it's indented like it should be, okay? Because even though you go through processing all this, sometimes it creates a false seal, which is why after the 12 to 24 hours of processing this, you want to keep, that's why you want to take your rings off, okay? So you want to take your rings off and keep them off. Because if there's a problem, you want to know that there's a problem. If you keep your rings on there, you may not know that there's a problem. You might think that jar is completely sealed, but it's really not. It's created what they call a false seal, because the ring is holding it in place. When really, that jar may be bad, okay? Also, when you open your jars, whenever you use them, make sure you look at the product. You smell the product. If it's barbecue sauce, it should smell like barbecue sauce, okay? If it's beef stew, it should smell like beef stew. It should not have an off smell or appearance. And of course, if you see anything gray and fuzzy or, like I said, off-colored, you know not to use it, right? But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish these jars. And like I said, I'm going to process them for 20 minutes. And I'll be back when I'm done. And in case y'all hadn't noticed, you know, it said 3 jars. I've done 3 jars already. Let me show you something. Look how much I still get. I don't know where they got that 3 pints from, because this is 3 pints already. And I barely put a dent in what's in this stock pot. This is 16-quart stock pot. When I finished everything, it was about a third full still. So I don't know where the ball got the 3 quarts from. Not 3 quarts, but 3 pints. But they were off. But anyway, I'll be back after 20 minutes of processing this, and then 5 minutes sitting in the canner, and then take it out. All right, back in a second for you guys. Okay, after the 20-minute processing time, I have 9 pint size of barbecue sauce. Okay, a far cry from the 3 pint size the book says. Yeah. And I had a few tomatoes left over, so I'm going to go ahead and got these in the water bath canner, and I'm just going to save these for a later time. Put them in my other stack. If you, like me, have extra tomatoes left over, you know, if you're not ready to use them then, go ahead and you could either jar them up or you could freeze them. I prefer to jar mine. I got to add more water to this, okay, because, you know, the water has to be over, at least 1 inch over the head space. But and process this for 85 minutes. Yeah, for raw pack for tomatoes. But you can, like I said, you can freeze them or you can do this. Okay, I prefer to do it this way. Now I don't know how true it is or what they told us way back when, but they used to tell us that the reason why the tomatoes in the store didn't taste well because they were frozen. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, okay? But if that is true, then I'd rather do it this way. And it may be okay to put it in the freezer for a short term. Now, how long short term is, I don't know. I would say no more than a month. I really don't know, okay? But, because I haven't researched it, because y'all know I like to research stuff. But anyway, so I'm going to do the water bath canning for the rest of these tomatoes. I have another, these are 2 quarts in here. And I already have another 7 quarts, I think. So whenever I need some more tomatoes, you know, I have them at my disposal. Well, actually, I have another half quart in the refrigerator. We'll probably just eat those, whatever. But anyway, that's it on this episode of barbecue sauce, the ball barbecue sauce, okay? But until next time, guys, peace out.